Darina is an employer. She found out one of her employees, Izaida, did not come to work. She tries to call her, but she did not pick up. The next day, she found out her same employee did not come to work. Darina tries to call her again and again, but she did not pick up the call. Darina found out the same employee, Izaida, did not come to work for a long period. She asked the other employees about the reason of her absence, but nobody able to answer it. Darina needs to employ a new employee to replace Izaida's position. She tries to call Izaida for several times again and again, but unfortunately, neither she picks up the call nor she could be reached by her number. Darina tries to find the other medium to reach Izaida. She tries to find any other information from Izaida's resume in order to notify her that she has been fired. The other medium to reach Izaida besides her contact number is her email. She decided to use her email as medium to send her the termination notice. Darina knows that the use of email to notify employee regarding to important matter such as termination notice is inappropriate. However, she has no choice since she has to notify Izaida that she has been fired.
Specific words will cause conflict. Imagine this is Tim. Tim receives many emails daily, and when he sees the email having the subject meeting, he may think that it's just a reminder of his every Monday board meeting and deletes it, when in fact there's a different content this week from his supervisor to ask him to bring an important document. This is how conflict arises.
We stated 3 top communication problems might be occurred which obviously faced by the employee if the employer used email to notify the employee that she has been fired. The employee who received the termination notice via email will question the emotional tone given by the sender, even with the graphic faces such as emoticons or smileys are unable to describe or to imitate the full complexity of real face expression. In other words, email is a poor medium for communicating emotions. It reduces the politeness and respect. Email has low social presence as it is more impersonal. So people are more likely to write things that would never be spoken in face-to-face conversation. Email messages are often less diplomatic than written letter. The employee who received the termination notice by email feels that the employer did not respect her. Email is one of the communication channels used to contact people and need an internet connection. According to one survey, professionals spend an average of 2 hours per day processing email. Without the strong internet connection, email sent by the sender could not reach to the receiver at the time she should receive it. Thus, it can simply say that the use of email contributes to information overload. In an organization, email is one of the best channels to notify the employee anything related to the work matter. However, the use of email by employer to notify the employee regarding to the termination notice seems inappropriate. Employer who has decided to fire her employee should use the most appropriate medium to convey the termination notice. One of the best methods to deliver the termination notice is by giving the letter from hand to hand. In other words, the employer should face-to-face with the employee in order to notify her that she has been fired.
Before you hit send, email is a vital part of business communication. Unfortunately, many employees don't know how to use email well, nor do they understand the risks of using it inappropriately. Before you hit the send button, ask yourself these questions. If the message is addressed to more than one person, does it really need to be? Reply all should be used very sparingly. Am I angry? If so, save the message as a draft and return to it at least an hour later. Have I reread what I wrote to be sure it's well written and punctuated correctly? Could I better accomplish the purpose of the message with a phone call or other method of communication? Am I covering more than one subject? If so, consider sending a separate message for each subject. Am I blind copying anyone? If so, how will the primary recipient feel if he or she finds out? Am I attaching a file that may be too large for the recipient to receive, or in a format that will be difficult for the recipient to open? Have I included a subject line that provides the recipient with a useful context for my message? We hope you'll follow these guidelines to make email a more useful and effective business tool.
The top management have identified the problem faced within the organization, which is the poor listening that happen between the top management and the sales employees. The management has decided to come up with the active training process and strategy to reduce the problem faced by the organization, which are sensing, evaluating, and responding.
People are great with 2 ears, with only one tongue, which is a gentle hint that they should listen more than they talk. To follow this active listening progress, we need to recognize that listening is a process of actively sensing the sender's signals. evaluating and responding as described at the beginning of this strategy. Listener receive the sender's signals, decode them as intended, and provide appropriate and timely feedback to the sender.
Sensing is the first steps for active listening, which they need to pay attention to the sender. Active listener improves sensing in 3 ways. Firstly, the listener postpone the evaluation by not forming any opinion until the speaker has finished their talk.
Second, the listener need to avoid interrupting the speaker conversations.
The third step, the listener must remain motivated to listen to the speaker until the end of the speech.
Evaluating is listening that includes understanding the meaning of the message, evaluating, and remembering the message. To improve their evaluation of the conversations, active listeners empathize with the speaker, which they are try to understand and be sensitive to the speaker's feelings, thought, and situations. Evaluation also improve when the listener organize the speaker's idea into key points while they are being communicated.
Responding is the third component of listening, meaning by that the listener need to give feedback to the sender, which motivates and direct the speaker communication. Active listener accomplish this by maintaining sufficient eye contact and sending back channels signal, for example, "Oh, I see," which mean both show interest. They are also respond, clarifying the message and rephrasing the speaker ideas at appropriate breaks, such as, "So, you are saying that..."
Many of us don't listen to other people. Instead, we just think and wait for our turn to express our own opinion. Take a step back and look at your colleagues' conversations. It's likely it'll look more like two monologues where everyone tells about themselves. The cure for it is active listening. It's a very powerful skill. It brings people closer, builds trust, and helps people to open up. Here are 5 steps on how to do it. 1. Stay focused. Keep natural eye contact, don't judge, and be patient. 2. Really listen. Don't think about your similar experiences and what you should tell next. 3. Allow for periods of silence. Wait till the other person speaks again. 4. From time to time, repeat the other person's words or paraphrase it back to them. It will reassure that you really listen and encourage them to open up. 5. Understand the emotions behind the words. When you paraphrase, also try to express the other feelings back to them. Active listening is rather difficult and can be more tiring than talking itself. Be prepared for long conversations. On the other hand, you will gain trust and people will simply like to spend time with you. You will also understand them much better. At the beginning, try it with your spouse or a good friend. You'll see how great they feel after talking to you.
got that? Dah belum? Dah berapa saat dah tu? 50. Satu, dua, tiga, 4, 5. Okey, hantar.
Ada, you datang, you zoom kat tempat ni. Ya.
Oh my god. Alamak dia jap. Tak masuk pun. Mana ada masuk?
Refresh.
Mana ada masuk?
Refresh,
Aku
refresh.
delete dulu. Refresh. Mana nak refresh tak?
Refresh di button yang atas kiri.
Tak masuk. Masuk pula.
Cepatlah, tekan.
Mana. Emoji dia lain.
Buka. Saya dah terkejut.
Bisa ada. Pandang sini.
You are fine.
Seriously? Kan dah comel.
Mana bos? Kita dah set kan? Dah. Zara, datang jam saya ni ya? Ada? Ada lah. Oh, memang ada hari. Tak tahu kenapa.
Jangan gelak-gelak. Ya Allah.
Seriously. Okay. Baik nak.
Jangan diucap. Selamat tinggal.